the new rules that are going into effect for the board meeting. These rules seem to be targeting groups that the board does not want to hear. For example, Woodlawn neighborhood, line 8, the layover there at Deacon. As you all know, there have been major outcry on that about the buses being laid over there, about people not being able to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. Opal, myself, the union, when they've come up and talked about the lift buses. What really bugs me is that basically it's what the board and Mr. McFarland do not want to hear. For example, in the ordinance it says, that the board member, or the board president has the right to, excuse me here for a moment, has the right to limit how much time there is per speaker or eliminate the time while they're talking. That really doesn't seem fair to me because, we do have our entitlement to 3 minutes for our public testimony, I will get into that later in my public forum. But what gets me is why should the board limit what is said in a public testimony from the people who actually ride the bus and deal with problems on a daily basis? I do strongly suggest the board not allow the modifications to Chapter 2.45 of the TriMet meeting rules that go through. Let the public speak what is really going on, not fooling around with millions of dollars to build a max that nobody wants. Thank you.
Thank you, Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First of all, I would like to make a comment as a writer on the selection of the 3,000 buildings. I have no love for buildings, but I got to tell you that the interior on them is marvelous. As a passenger, I love the seats. I don't have to worry about sitting on the dirty pieces of garbage anymore, and they're great for the back. I'm glad that somebody took into consideration that not everybody that gets on the bus is 6'4", and it's a lot easier to reach the hanging straps. You do have some problems on those, and there are going to be problems with liability coming up, because it's only a matter of when the platforms, when the ramp is lowered, it's very difficult for a mobility device to go up. And I've seen the three-wheelers almost flip backwards. That's with a lowered bus at an ADA sanctioned type of stop. So you're going to have problems with that. But more so than that, I love it. It's just a comfortable bus. It's marvelous. It's new and moving sleeps well. I'm thankful to God that I am not driving that piece of junk, because you are waiting for another series of deaths to happen. Now, when you look at me, realize that I sat on the Accident Review Board at TriMet. I was on the Board of Appeals. I have had to watch videos of people losing their lives in front of vehicles. People I even knew who were passengers of mine. It's not pleasant. None of us wants that on our soul. But the time has come for questions to be raised before and not after. It's always easier to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission. But the time has come to look at those mirrors and the view out there, which is also because of the way the nose is developed. And if you know a little bit about geometry, follow me. Look at my hands. See the angle? Angle at the palm, right down at the wrist, very narrow. So in front of me, maybe if I look out of the mirror, I've maybe got 2 or 3 feet that are blocked. But as that moves out, basic geometry, folks, I've got a bigger field that I can't see. Add to that all the blocking of the mirror, the posts, everything that you have there, the doors, the big fat section where there's no glass. There's going to be something happening there. That's number one. I hope you take care of that. Other than that, I think it's marvelous what you did with the cooling system back there. I hope they never overheat again. On the serious side, I am a retiree. I've had my pension cut. I've seen you go into negotiations with Bob Nelson, who I happen to like. He's one of the few honest people in management that I've ever met. One of the top people I've ever met. It's real nice to bring him back in. It's not a slap to the union, it's a slap to the public. I will tell you that at negotiations under the Green Book contract, I have seen the general manager of TriMet get up and go, empty pockets. No, you don't. And then you have the nerve to go ahead and part-time hire somebody as a policy advisor between 50 and 72K a year, non-union. I thought we had the richest contract. Oh, I'm surprised. Can I apply for that? I can do it for less. I don't have to make up the $90 Social Security, because I'm one of those people who's going to come back. are responsible for. It's time to bring in oversight committee, and it's time to take this company from a position of number 25 in the nation back to number 1. If you were running a business outside of the world of TriMet, the way this is being run, you would have business. I want you to seriously consider this as $1.5 billion business that is being run into the ground. And if you think it's important to do all those things, other things, yes, they are. But more important is to pick that person up that's waiting at that stop for that bus to come. That is our mission, to provide safe and courteous service from point A to point B. Very simplistic.
Are you almost wrapped up there?
Yes, I am.
All right.
But it's time for the board to either run the company or hand in your resignations. All around.
Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, this is something that I've been kind of sort of debating about, but oh well. It's about the service between the 12, the 94, the 21, and even the 76. It's all West Side bus lines, and they're all out of Merlo. The 94 and the 12, before last September, were just fine the way they were. One straight shot from Portland, from my stop, 8792 Pacific Highway Durham, without having to transfer at Tiger Transit Center to the 12. That's a big problem, especially now when you have the 94 that is 30 minutes or less from Tiger to Sherwood. The ridership is there to make it even frequent service, but why would you have to change it in the first place? I haven't seen any numbers saying that we're saving money by splitting up the 12, which already had the worst on-time performance already. I haven't seen any money saved through that. And you know, we have those high-floor, flexible metros that are rattly. It's impossible to have a conversation on because they're so loud. And I don't see what the big deal is. I don't see how we're saving money on that. It's just making it even more inconvenient for me as a passenger who's paying $100 for service like this. I'm going up to Seattle sometime, I believe next week, could be next Saturday, with my buddy Eric Halston, who used to ride the bus, but not anymore because of these old buses. And we decided that maybe we wanted to ride TriMet down to 6th and Salmon because we didn't want to drive. Well, turns out we would have to get on the 94 and transfer at Tiger Transit Center. The transfer wait time there is about 18 minutes. We could drive downtown in 18 minutes. So I don't see why we have to split up the 94, the 12, and the 21. It's just more transfer time, and it takes longer for me to get to my destination. Enough about that. Bus 76 as well. The 76 line has to be one of the worst lines that I have ever ridden. The ridership is there. It's all crush load. It's 30 minutes or less buses. And the last bus from Meridian Park to Beaverton Transit Center on a Sunday is at 6:40. And that's the last bus. That's pretty terrible, if you ask me. So my thoughts has to be either we put the 12 back the way it was, make it go from Sherwood to Gresham, or make the 94, the 12, and the 21 frequent service. Because these half an hour to an hour, or 2 buses per hour, or 1 bus per hour, and off-peak, especially at night when I ride the 94 the most, unacceptable. That's another thing. The 76 needs to be frequent service as well. Sure, we have 2900s on it, so at least we're not baking in these old buses during the summer, but still, the ridership is there to make it frequent service, and the ridership is there to extend the service out. Every time I'm on the 76, it's always jam-packed with a bunch of people, and when I arrive at Beaverton Transit Center on the max, and I need to catch the 76 because that's the closest stop to my house, it's always driving away. And then I have to wait another half an hour for a 76. Or I can wait for a 78 and have my dad pick me up at Tiger Transit Center. So those are my thoughts. Thanks.
Remind me, where's the 76 go?
The 76, yeah, that goes from Meridian Park Hospital to Beaverton.
Bay is Fulton and Tiger, Long Haul Boulevard.
Great. Okay.
Hello again, board members. I'm sure you recognize my face, of course. I got some vital issues for you today. I presented you guys everyone some documents this morning. The first thing on your documents I've presented to you is a citizen oversight panel. This is what Sound Transit up in Seattle uses with their in concurrence with their board members to help with their pretty much with everything that goes on. Basically, as you see here, it says adhere to public commitment, open and timely involvement of citizens, so on and so forth. Yet Sound Transit uses this, and they've been using this since November of 1996, yet they don't seem to be having the problems that TriMet seems to be having today. Why don't we have something like that today? Why don't we have something like, for TriMet, something like that? Instead, all the public can do is voice their concerns at the public forum, and that's it. It seems like that's the only voice that we have personally. Why can't we get something like this? Maybe use David Sale or possibly, some other, people who are involved, who know what's going on with the transit system, to be involved in this citizen oversight panel, to be able to help get TriMet to back where it was, when it was number one. Why can't we do something like that? Also, this would, keep TriMet accountable for their actions. This also brings me to my second point. As you see listed below, there's an Oregon Revised Statute here. It says ORS 267.090, and I quote, "The Board of Directors of a mass transit district shall consist of 7 members. 1 director shall be appointed from each of the 7 subdistricts. The governor shall appoint as one of the directors a person who regularly uses the services provided by a mass transit system." Now, as you see below that, there are comments from each board member from the Oregonian dated on June 12, 2012, I believe it was. Yes. Anyways, as you see here, the only person who actually rides the transit on a regular basis would be you, Mr. Warner. You stated to the Oregonian, Joe Rose, that you ride the transit system about 5 to 8 times a week. These are your own words that you said to Joe Rose. All I did was just put them in this document. Now, here Mr. Warner does state that you do ride the MAX a lot. Do you ride the buses at all? Mr. Warner, do you ride?
Keep going, but the answer is yes.
All right, thank you. All right, fine. Then, as long as you see the deteriorating conditions, especially out of Merlo Garage and out of Powell with the older buses, as you can see, that's a big problem. Also, my last point, as I see I'm running out of time here, February 13th, Mr. McFarland stated there was a SOS for TriMet, yet it's very funny to me, on the 3rd page you'll see a TriMet job opening that says, "Manager, Portland Milwaukee Light Rail Startup, salary, you see the salary there, and then annually $70,000 to $118,000 annually." Kind of confuses me why we're in a state of service, yet TriMet can afford to pay a manager over a 6-figure income. Seems a little fishy to me. Thank you.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I would like to apologize for my meltdown there. I don't apologize necessarily for what I said, but I completely lost my train of thought and I acted pretty boneheaded about it. I hope it didn't seem like I let my hubris get in the way of anything. But the fact of the matter is, that ordinance, it really does piss me off to be told that we need more control over the way we speak, especially after a time where people are really going to be upset with you, Mr. McFarland, because of what you've done and what your actions have shown. This isn't a good time. This isn't a happy time. And I have a list of questions here I wanted to ask you, but most of it has already been covered. We've already found out that you've given yourself a raise on your salary, that you make $250,000 a year, just about. I may be off a little bit. That you've given your top 50 employees $400,000 in raises. You keep cutting the union benefits than you already have, but you tell the media that the union is the cause of all the problems, and that there need to be service cuts, and that the amount that you've given yourself and your employees, it's a spit in the eye. I'm right on this info, right? Because I've gotten the info from higher sources. Have you given your administrative employees a raise, and you deny this?
If you'd like to submit your questions, we have to read, but this isn't a response form.
All right. Well, I have these questions. They may be rhetorical, but have you thought about decreasing your administrator's salary? I know you're probably not going to answer, but have you thought about putting hold on to massive high-capacity projects that would be more cost to operations than otherwise? Have you considered not hiring new employees the day after you say that service needs to be cut and the union needs to be cut? Have you thought about spending less time and money running what is ultimately smear campaigns and more time working on finding more sustainable ways to balance your budget? It just might inconvenience you a little bit. You need to be moving heaven and earth to fix TriMet's management problem instead of only going after the people that aren't you. This isn't transparency. This is and I know there's no nicer way to say it, this is lying. This is lying to the public. Then how do you do it? How do you say that through your actions, through what you've done, that you are more important than your riders and your drivers? Why do you cut our service, raise our fares, and punish the media, punish the union, telling the media that they're at fault, while you hand yourself and the higher-ups more money? You're not broke. You will never be broke. And yet you break us. I may be demanding this microphone, but I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for the thousands of low-income riders who can't make it to your meetings because they are so hidden out of the way that they cannot logically make it. I'm speaking for the hundreds of drivers who aren't here because they're making your system exist. I speak for the advocates who want and demand better for the system, who break their hearts and boil their blood, even fighting till their dying breath to help the riders and drivers. Do you know what a spit in the eye it is to be blamed for the crisis, thrown into civil war, stolen from, while you, Mr. McFarland, and your administration goes to the bank? What makes you more important than us? Why would you lie to your teeth about what you did for your benefit? I'm almost done.
All right, thank you.
But why you will take from the riders who don't even fully know what's going on, so you can give to yourself? I don't understand how you could be so dishonest. It kills me. All of us deserve an answer, and I'm through giving up, and I'm through walking to my seat in defeat. This time, I refuse to leave until someone can answer me. I won't leave until you, the board, can justify this dishonesty. I refuse to leave because I care too much to die down this time. Can somebody tell me what is going on?
Cameron, thank you for apologizing. I guess you need to know that we are very concerned about service, about fares, and you may not agree with the numbers, but I would love for you to take a hard look at our operating budget. I believe the numbers, and David, correct me if I'm wrong, about 87% of our operating budget is labor. Is that about the right number? And that is the driver of our costs. We want to provide attractive and wages for our employees and attractive benefits, but also need to have them be affordable in the long term. So I hope that when we actually get into the budget, and I'm not looking for a dialogue and debate here, I just hope that we take a hard look at the budget, where our money actually goes, and how much money is actually being spent on administration overhead in this agency compared to the overall. I'm not gonna, we're done. We're done with the testimony. But I hope that we actually can have an honest dialogue about the money, where it is and where it goes, and get over the rhetoric that's going on here, because we do need to control our costs, or we will be on a path to continued service reductions and fare increases. It's as simple as that.
I would love to talk to you about the budget. I don't hate you all. I mean, I'm pissed at you all. I'm pissed at all. I don't hate anybody. But like I said, I'm not pulling these numbers out of my ass. He has given his employees more raises than the service cuts have cost. If you guys would like to give me an answer, I'm all for it.
Thank you, Cameron. The budget is pretty straightforward, so we'll look forward to that. Thank you. That concludes our public forum. Thank you.